And good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your Tuesday to join me. I really appreciate it. And would it really be a Tuesday Vlogs About Nothing episode if I didn't bring up Taco Tuesday? I think not. So, there you do. There you go. I just brought it up. Regardless, I do want to talk to everybody tonight about illegal gold mining. And so, hey, thanks again for watching my channel. I do appreciate it. I say it like a million times each video, but I do mean it, and sometimes it's just how I'm feeling, which is basically all of what this channel is. No script, just me talking. I don't think I've said a complete sentence today. It's been awesome. And now I've been able to rest, and I will proceed to make these videos and then go outside of my room into my apartment and finish listing all of the videos that we got this month on eBay. So yeah, go eBay. It's doing okay, actually. We're selling some tapes, so that's very nice. Also, something not very common you'd hear somebody say in 2024, but it is true. So there's also that. Regardless, link in the description below. I don't know why I'm saying regardless so much tonight, but I do notice, and I'm picking up on that. So, regardless. I just had to say it one more time. Anyways, link in the description below to an interesting documentary. I only caught about 25 minutes of it or so. I do plan on watching the rest of it, but one documentary about illegal gold mining is like any other documentary about illegal gold mining. It's terrible, it's atrocious, it's something that you'd be wanting to stop if you in fact ultimately cared about people's overall health and the general impact that illegal mining has on any given community. But while we're able to report on it, we are not able to change it. While we know all of the perpetrators, the victims, and the perpetuation of the perpetrators and stuff, we know all of that, and yet we still don't stop it. And I think that's a part of the bigger problem, which is we seem to recognize a lot of stuff, but yet we don't do anything about it. So, I mean, as cool as it is to stay informed, without information, one cannot be in any kind of a position to provide informed consent. So, definitely half of the solution to most major problems is definitely becoming informed about them. This is 101, definitely. Now, what we do after we become informed of these problems is, in fact, the other half of the solution to the problem. And in fact, it's a half that, while we do recognize and figure out, we fail miserably in its execution. To enforce, to hold accountable, and I think it's pretty telling about how people view other people. And I think that is in kind of this weird state of just wanting to exploit them at their own cost. I'm not sure if this is a status quo kind of a thing or if just people are like that in general. You feel me? I mean, otherwise, why would things be the way that they are? I ask myself this question a lot, and often where I end up is becoming more informed about my world. And so, in the Philippines in particular, just this little small town outside of Manila, there's currently close to a $1 billion illegal gold mining trade. And it's just, again, interesting how a stranger from Albuquerque, New Mexico, sitting behind his desk, that's not even really a desk, talking behind his phone, that really isn't even a phone because it's so messed up at this point. How do I know such numbers? I mean, it's insane. But regardless, I'm here to report these numbers to you. How I know this information? Well, because I watch documentaries, how they find out this information, they go to the source. While we're still not yet able to stop the problem, is a mystery to us all. Regardless, the numbers are in, and there's about a $1 billion illegal gold mining operation going down in a small town outside of Manila in the Philippines. So, not to mention, listen, the Philippines, can a country or nation be more exploited? I say that with the worst, darkest humor ever. I'm trying not to be cringe, but we've talked about the Philippines on this particular, not on this particular issue, but this is where they have the food that they eat because they don't have food to eat. Um, and I don't understand. And then Biden, obviously, we've given power over again to another, and we've approved of power being transferred to another authoritative governmental regime, one that historically speaking had already been demonized and criminalized for having historical for having a history of exploiting their people, like in stone, like taking their money and jetting on out of the country, and not just a little bit of money, but billions of dollars. So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong out there, but I do believe it is a member of that same family that is currently in power. So, it's just interesting at the very most to report on these issues that unfortunately I feel like those people will never be able to solve. And that's weird. Isn't that weird to observe other people's problems knowing that they most likely will never get solved because of the kind of influence that particular government might have and the kind of trade off it performs with the Western world and so forth. I mean, talk about laissez faire. America's a lovely place, but while we're open for doing business in different countries, we definitely cannot control what other countries do to their constituents. We've tried. It doesn't work. On some levels, it has. On others, to rob people of their indigenous sovereignty is something that has been looked down upon, even through business, right? Because lots of people would say in the government they'd like to trade jobs for health when most normal people with half of a working brain would never trade their health for their job, regardless of how much money they made. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, you could make $1 million a year as a fracking cleanup crew member, but how much are you going to have to spend on health costs as your life progresses and you become sick? I mean, I'm not a mathematician, but I do some basic computations every now and then, and I just feel like you can never trade health for jobs, and governments are so willing to offer jobs for health that it blows my mind. I mean, it's not even like a real thing we should be talking about, right? But yeah, we are. It could potentially be in theory that the $1 billion illegal gold mining trade could do just as well for national taxation and community benefit if that industry were in fact just made legal and provided safeguards and protections from its government as a long-term investment, which is something that governments absolutely owe its constituents. I mean, so I otherwise, what's the point? What's the point of human capital if the very people that control the flow of that human capital are unwilling to protect the labor force that it requires to be that kind of way? And so it's just interesting. I feel bad for the Philippines. I really do. These people are really in a situation. And I feel like the entire world, just as places like Brazil and Argentina and Rio de Janeiro, I mean, these places, Venezuela, that have seen lots of crime, that have seen lots of corruption, they just, and there's so many people down there. Not to mention, like, and they're obviously all very older kind of populations that may or may not be democratized in the Western sense of the word. Has anyone ever heard of Cuba? So, or Cuba, as they say in Cuba. You know what I mean? But regardless, they're still hanging on. We've not yet. No president has ever seriously really wanted to reform that situation. which is unfortunate at the very least because Americans and American companies used to do some real good business down in Cuba. So, and leave it up to, the jealous American government to hold that against them when Fidel Castro decided to nationalize everything in the country. I mean, that is one sure way to upset the American government. Not open yourself up for business. This is all that we ask from others around the world, and when we don't get it, well, we don't like it. That's what we don't like. Anyways, I hope that you guys have a really good night. Thank you for watching my show. If you're not already a subscriber, consider subscribing. It really does help the channel out a lot. And until next time, bye.